Welcome to another weekly rundown of the stories that shaped conversation from breakthrough in education to privacy debates, historic wins for women, and shocking abuse of power, and then even tech upgrades on our roads. This is where we unpack the week together. You're watching the recap with Dare on Idea TV. We'll give you the tea right after the break. Okay, without wasting much of our time, let's dive into what we have for you today. In JIGAWA, over 1,000 school kids just got their first big push into the digital world. Well, all thanks to the National Information Technology Development Agency's Literacy Program. 3 weeks of coding, problem solving, and STEM training later, these pupils aren't just living with certificates, but they are living with real skills to face the future. But here is the interesting call. While we are celebrating this milestone in Nigeria, China is already pushing AI and coding deep into its primary schools. So I am hoping that this move in JIGAWA opens up to global tech race. Hence, initiatives like NITDA can't just be a pilot scheme. They should be multiplied, they should spread nationwide, and they should be sustained. Because in today's world, digital literacy isn't just advantage anymore, it is survival. In another move, Lagos State is moving to put its money where its mouth is. Under a new bill, at least 1.5% of the state's annual capital budget will go into a research and development innovation fund, with plans to grow that to 2% in the next decade. What does this mean in real terms? We are talking funding for tech startups, speed capital for young innovators, support for repatriated Nigerian tech talent, and even the development hubs, labs, and accelerators across the state. Think of it as Lagos trying to build its own Silicon Valley vibe right here in Africa. If this bill passes, it could be a big step towards making Lagos not just Nigeria's commercial capital, but a true hub for science, technology, and research, which is exactly what we are promoting at Idea Television, especially as the first innovation television in Africa. And honestly, it makes me wonder, would this be the push that finally runs local ideas into global solutions? Or will it just be another policy loss in bureaucracy? Well, time will tell. Moving on, let's talk about visas and social media timelines. Did you know that now, if you are applying for a US visa, your Instagram scroll or private selfie collection might just be your passport to rejection and possibly future blacklisting? In a new development, the US Embassy in Nigeria now requires applicants to list all their social media handles from the past 5 years. At face value, it is all about security, but when we dig deep, the real tale is this: our digital lives are now under global scrutiny. But on the flip side, in China, social media activities was deeper and personal expression. It is a graded scorecard for citizens' behavior. So here is the open question. As US starts treating social media like a background check, can Nigeria and all of us still stay digitally savvy and safe without losing our privacy? Or are we just handing over more than we can realize? Well, that is what we want you to answer in the comment section. Moving on to the next story. Now, this one sounds straight out of science and fiction. China is building the world's first pregnancy robot with a fully functional artificial womb. Yes, a humanoid robot that could carry a baby from conception all the way to birth. The project, led by Kaiwa Technology, is expected to launch by 2026. Well, artificial wombs aren't they are not actually new. Scientists once kept premature lambs alive in biobags. But putting that into a robot, that's a whole new frontier. It could cost around 100,000 yuan, way cheaper than surrogacy, and with infertility on the rise in China, that might be a game changer. Now, from inspiration to outrage, this next story shook a lot of people. This story is one of those stories that stirs both anger and relief at the same time. Anger in the sense that what happened to that young corps member was clear abuse of power. A woman who was simply serving her country ended up brutalized and stripped publicly by men meant to protect the community. That is the kind of ugly headline that shakes people's trust in local security outfits. But there is also a relief because, for once, swift action followed immediately. Governor SOLUDO's decision to sack the vigilantes, order their prosecution, and even cover the victim's hospital bill shows a real sense of accountability that we don't often see in Nigeria. Too many times, such cases are swept under the carpet in the name of settlement or quiet resolution. For now, the key takeaway here is bigger than just this incident. It is about what kind of policing and community security Nigeria really needs. If vigilante groups who are supposed to supplement security start acting like licensed oppressors, then we are simply replacing one form of insecurity with another. SOLUDO's firm stance should be a wake-up call across the country. Uniformed guns do not give anyone the right to strip away people's dignity. So what is my take on this? This is justice in motion, but it is not the end. It doesn't end with dismissal alone. Prosecution and reform are the only ways to truly restore public trust. Now to the road, where boats just dropped something new. If you've been in the boat recently, here is something new you might soon notice. Your driver's phone doubling as a dash camera. Both just rolled out this feature in Nigeria, recording both inside and outside the car. On paper, this might sound like a big win for safety. Now, drivers finally get the receipts they've been begging for when disputes pop up. But here's the flip side of the story. Drivers have also been shouting for months about low payments and rising cost of fuel. So, while 1 month free of this camera app sounds good, after that it will be 4,800 naira a month from their pockets. So here is the real question. Should safety upgrades come with yet another bill from drivers who are already feeling underpaid? Or should both be footing the bills to prove that they actually have the interest of these drivers at their heart? Because at the end of the day, drivers don't just need protection on the road, they need dignity in their pay. What do you think should be done? Let me have your answers in the comment section. And that wraps up our recap for this week. I'd like to hear from you. Which events stood out for you this week? Let us know in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are yet to do that. I remain Dara. See you next week.